Welcome back, students. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST Zone. Students, as in our previous chapter, we have studied about the marginalized people. We have studied who are considered as the marginalized people, under which we have seen that government has already categorized the marginalized people into the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and the other backward communities. We have also studied about the minorities, in which we have studied about the communities and the religions which are coming under the minorities. So students, in that same series, today we will study another new chapter about the marginalized people, that is the Confronting Marginalization, under which we will cover few topics. Our today's topics under this chapter are, so let's see, look on topics. Our first topic is the invoking fundamental rights, means how the fundamental rights for the marginalized people came into the work and how these were applied. Okay, and under the second heading, it is law for the marginalized. So what are the law which were made for the marginalized people, that we will study in our second topic. In our third topic, that is the protecting the right of Dalits and the Adivasis, as the Dalits and Adivasis are coming under the marginalized people. So how the rights are protected by the government of Dalits and Adivasis, that we will study in our third topic. Then after that, Adivasis demands and the 1989's Act. Students, one act was made for the Dalits and Adivasis in 1989. So we will see that what were the demands of Adivasis under this act, for which this act was framed. Then at the last of this video, we will see a conclusion about our today's chapter, Confronting Marginalization. So let's start our video with our first topic, invoking fundamental rights. So, as we know, our constitution gives us few fundamental rights and few rules and regulation are there for protecting our human rights. And these rights are equal for all human beings. So in that way, if anyone's fundamental right is violated, so they can insist to government to enforce it and make it available for all. So, to invoking the fundamental rights, there are few articles which are especially for the human rights protection, as the marginalized and minority people struggle a lot to being a part of the mainstream society. So, to protect their human rights as well as laws are here in the form of articles. So, we will see few articles, Article 17 and Article 15, under which we will see the Constitution's first states that the untouchability has been abolished. And we will also see that no discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, religion and race. So, here are two articles, Article 17 and Article 15, about which now we will study. So, if we will see what the Article 17 is saying. The Article 17 is saying untouchability has been abolished. It means to say no one can henceforth prevent Dalits from educating themselves, means no one can stop them from getting education. Even entering temples, no one can stop them to enter inside the temples. That using public facility, no one can be stopped from using the public facility. Even it also means that it is wrong to practice untouchability and that this practice will not be tolerated by a democratic government. Means as our government is based upon the secularism, so no one can be tolerated if they will show any kind of untouchability, if any type of practice is there of untouchability and anybody's fundamental rights not be abolished. So, in fact, untouchability is a punishable crime now. Now, if anybody will see the untouchability is there, so it can be punished by the government. What the Article 15 is saying? If we see the Article 15, it is talking about the discrimination against on the basis of religion, race, caste or a place of birth. Means in this, the article is saying that no one can be discriminated in our country on the basis of caste, creed, religion and we can say or a place of birth and gender wise. So in that sense, what is the meaning of place of birth? As in our 7th class, we have studied about the equality, chapter 1, in which we have seen few peoples are belonging from the rich family and few from the poor family. So in that case, if any person is belonging from a rich family and any person is from poor family, so they can't be discriminated according to their status wise. So Article 15 is protecting the right of the human beings to being discriminated from the society. So in that sense, under the Article 17 and 15, we can say the people are knowing about their fundamental rights and the people, those are known as untouchable Dalits or the people known as broken. They have few rights. Here are few rights for them through which they may handle the situation where they feel they have been treated badly by some individuals or the community. As the marginalized people invoked in a upgraded manner, same as the people of minority also have few fundamental rights to protect themselves. The minorities also have few rights. They have particularly drawn upon the rights to freedom of religion and rights to education and the cultural practices. In practice, every effort is being made by the government to protect the interest of the minorities. A minority commission was also passed. A commission was set up for that by the government of India to look into the problems of the minority and to save them. As many times I have told that our country is a secular country. So in our country, not any one religion or any one creed is in the majority. The minority people are also having the same rights and facility as the majority peoples are having. As we know, in our country, the marginalized peoples are having many rights to protect themselves. So now let's see what are the laws for the marginalized people. So as we know that many laws are there for the marginalized people. So there are some specific laws and policies for the marginalized people. In our country, even few policies and schemes also made by government to protect their rights. So for that, the government has decided to promote the social justice system. As our preamble of the Constitution promises to secure social, economical and the political justice for all Indian citizens. Every citizen is entitled to the fundamental right of equality and freedom, including freedom of religion and culture as well as the educational right. So, to bring them in the social equality, the government introduced a reservation policy. As in the previous chapter, we have studied the government of India have its own list of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and the other backward communities. So accordingly to this list, the people those are belonging from these community, they are under this reservation policy. According to government, who is eligible for this reservation policy? Whether they are students, employees, or a simply citizen. But if they are belonging from the marginalized community, they are able to take benefits of the reservation policy. Even in that policy, government provided them the relaxation in qualifying marks. According to advice of the Mandal Commission, which was set up in 1979, the government reserved an additional 27% of government jobs for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and the other backward communities. Now let's see how the government is protecting rights of Dalits and the Adivasis. Apart from the fundamental laws and the rights, our country also have some specific laws and guards against the discrimination and exploitation of the marginalized and the minority communities. So let's see a scene which is from your book. So students, it is a story of village Jakmalgur. The village of Jakmalgur are gearing up for a big festival. Once in 5 years, the local deity is honored and priests from 20 neighboring villages come from the 5-day event. The ceremony begins with a number of the Dalit community washing the feet of all the priests and then bathing in the water used with this. In Jakmalgur, the person who performed this task belonged to Ratnam's family. His father and grandfather had both performed the same task before him, though they were never allowed to enter the temple. See students, they were doing the work for the priest, but they were not allowed to enter in the temple. This ritual was viewed as a great honor bestowed on them on the special occasion. Now it was Ratnam's turn. Ratnam was all of 20 years studying engineering in a nearby college. He refused to perform the rituals. He said that he had no faith in this practice and that his family members were forced to perform this ritual because they were Dalits. Ratnam's refusal angered both the powerful caste in the village and some families from his own community. The powerful caste were shocked that such a young boy had the guts to refuse. They believed that if it was Ratnam's education which allowed him to imagine that he could start comparing himself with them. Those from Ratnam's own caste were fearful of angering the powerful. Many worked on their fields as daily wages laborers. If the dominant caste decided to not call them, then what they would earn? How would they survive? They also declared that the wrath of the local deities would strike them if they refused to give in. Ratnam argued that given that not a single Dalit had ever entered the temple, how could the deity be angry with them? The powerful caste decided to teach Ratnam a lesson. His community was ordered to ostracize him and his family. So here students, if you have seen this in this story that Ratnam was denied to do the same practice which was done by his family members. So now his family was moved out from the community, and then what happened after? And everyone was told that no one should speak or do any work for them or with them. One night some men entered their part of the village and set his hut on fire. He managed to escape with his mother. Ratnam then went to file a case in the local police station under the Scheduled Caste and the Scheduled Tribe Prevention of Atrocities. It is an act which was passed in 1989, about which we will study later. Other Dalit families still did not come out in his support, as they were scared that a similar fate might await them if they spoke out. The case was picked up by the local media that led to many journalists visiting the village. Ratnam was written about as a symbol of Dalit action. The ritual was called off, but his family was forced to move out as they continued to be ostracized by the powerful caste in the village. Students, here you have seen an incident of Ratnam's family, where if they denied to do the same practice, they were sent out from the village. And then after being a violated person, Ratnam has filed a case under the Law Prevention of Atrocities 1989. So here, to face these types of condition which was faced by Ratnam, government has passed a law which is known as the Prevention of Atrocities 1989 for all the scheduled caste and the scheduled tribes, and it was framed two demands which were made by the Dalits and others as government protecting their rights through it. In that, a number of assertive Dalit groups demanded that act of violation against Dalit should be reported and stern punishment against them should be prescribed. In 1970 and 1980, Adivasi demanded equal rights and the resources which were taken from them as forest land. In the Act 1989, many crimes were listed which were done against the marginalized people. So let's see what were the crimes which were listed under this. So students, here are few crimes which are mentioned in that list. First, hurting or humiliating members of the SCs and STs by forcing them to eat or drink any inedible substance, unclothing them, parading them naked. Number 2 was taking away the land or property of members of the scheduled caste or the scheduled tribes and forcing them to perform slave labors, work without wages, which was also known as the Bandhwa labors. Number 3, assaulting or dishonoring women belonging to the SCs or STs. The 4th crime which was listed in this act, it was the special courts have been set up to try cases under this act. Now let's see what were the demands of Adivasis under the Act 1989. Students, this act was only for defending the rights of all marginalized people. As under 1989 Act, there were many demands of Adivasis. So here are few demands out of them which were decided by the Adivasi peoples. So first demand that the Adivasi wants their land back which was forcibly encroached upon the tribals. Another demand was the land belonging to tribal people cannot be sold to the non-tribal people. In case where this has happened, the Constitution guarantees the right of tribal people to repossess their land. For this, one activist of Adivasis, Cbse, has also pointed out that one of the violators of constitutional rights guaranteed to tribal people are governments in the various states of India. Students, here we have seen that the marginalized and the minorities are also a part of our society. They can't be humiliated or discriminated by the mainstream society. They are also having right to being promoted in the various part of our economy, education and our sociality. So students, here our today's chapter Confronting Marginalized is complete. Hope you understood it. Here I have provided few keywords to you to note down in your civics notebook. We will study more about the new upcoming chapters. For that, keep watching SSD June.